Hello, all you beautiful people out there. I just wanted to drop in on a super casual, quick, simple video today and address motherhood, money, and work. And after making my last video talking about restless mom syndrome, which is something that I kind of made up, which if you haven't watched, you should definitely check it out because I feel like a lot of people resonated with it. A part of that video and that idea stemmed from the topic of money and motherhood and work-life balance. And I know probably so sick of hearing like work-life balance because honestly, I don't know that it exists. I feel like a part of it is just like work-life acceptance. And maybe that's where I'm having a hard time. But as a single mom, I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's been a struggle because I know that I have been very blessed and lucky with the job that I landed, coming from being a stay-at-home mom for 3 years and then entering the workforce. I know a lot of people kind of get a short end of the stick, and I don't necessarily feel that I got that at all. I feel like the opportunity I had in the company with the people, the time off, everything has been a huge blessing. So I truly hope that you don't take this as me complaining because I am very grateful. That being said, it's still very hard. My heart is not satisfied, I guess, with being a working mom. And when I say being a working mom, I guess I mean in the corporate world. The demand of the 40-hour work week, the demand of having to be somewhere for a certain amount of time, even if the work that you need to do isn't aligned with that kind of time frame. I wish so badly that things could be more project-oriented or like work-oriented and value-focused, that your pay could be based on the value that you bring to the company. And it's not just the value of the work, but it's the value of your attitude, the value of your camaraderie, and those type of elements that really, I think, make or break companies. Because I have learned all over again very quickly that it only takes one bad egg, one bad seed to really screw up a lot of things in terms of the environment and the work culture. So as much as I love where I work and I'm thankful to be working there, it's still not my first pick, especially with 2 young boys. With a 2 and almost 4-year-old, I would still love to be home. I would still love the idea of potentially being able to homeschool them and just be more hands-on with them. 40 hours out of the week is a long time to be away from your kids, to have someone else taking care of them, teaching them, influencing them. And I just feel like it's a hard conversation to have because what else can you do? It's not necessarily that I'm anti preschools or daycares or anything. It's certainly not the route I want to go. I've worked at them before, and I think there are some really great ones, and I think there are some not so great ones, but it's also the cost. It's so expensive now. It is literally a second mortgage, and then if you have 2 kids, it's basically 2 mortgages because they don't necessarily give you a discount or that great of a discount for every kid you have, and the younger they are, the more expensive it is. So I understand the draw and desire to want to be home aside from just that motherhood, like innate desire to want to be with your kids. It's such a complicated conversation, and I wanted to pop in here because I truly do want to hear from you guys. I have a lot of struggles right now because I feel like in my head, I feel like I need a certain amount of money as my income, as my salary, before I can move out of my parents' house, before we will be covered and safe and that I can be sturdy enough to give them everything that we need. I have a certain amount of money that I feel like I need to have saved in order for us to thrive, to be okay, that nest egg. And well, I 100% do think that stuff is necessary. Like, you want to have savings, you want to have a cushion, you want to be prepared because life throws curveballs all the time. I also feel like that number is kind of made up of nothing for the most part, and it's just causing stress and overwhelm, and I feel like it's never enough. Like, there's no amount of money that's enough for me to feel comfortable, to buy a house, to invest in something, to move forward. And that's a very frustrating feeling, especially when you are in charge of raising two small kids on your own, but then also sort of feel out of control. And I feel like maybe this is a reason why so many people dive into entrepreneurship, because they want autonomy over their time, their finances, and what can potentially happen, because it is frustrating. Even if you love your job, if you're in a job that kind of limits how much you can grow, that's obviously going to limit how much you can also make. So then what are you going to have to do? Find another job. And that seems to be the trend now. It's not the boomer age anymore where you can work somewhere forever and get these great bonuses and raises and promotions and work your way up and one day be a CEO. It's like you have to company hop in order to get what you feel you deserve or what you think you're worth, or to even just get the correct pay for entry-level positions that you're working in. I struggle with this conversation that I have with myself in my head because sometimes it feels like I'm a victim. And I think that's just a lot of thinking that's rooted in fear, a fear of making a bad decision and it affecting my kids, and a fear of losing everything. And it's like some days I can wake up and I'm just like, yeah, you can make money anywhere. You can make money doing anything. Like, money is money. It's not a big deal. Like, it's all flow and fluid and it's fine. And then other days it's like, hoard it, hide it, hold on to all of it. And it affects generosity. It gives you a scarcity mindset and it feels icky. Like, I really don't like how it feels. Honestly, neither of them feel that great, but they're also just not productive. These are not productive thought patterns that I'm having right now. You know, it's a lot. And so right now I'm sort of in a hard place of like contemplating, do I stay where I am in a state that I'm not so sure about, or do I pursue other jobs and go somewhere that I love? And part of this, I think, is a mindset. You know, I think you have to learn to appreciate and enjoy wherever you are. And I think sometimes that's something that I really struggle with. But I also think I don't want to have fear of starting over or of making a big jump that could be so positively impactful for my life, which will then feed into my kids' lives. But a lot of this also, of course, the conversation revolves around money. You know, are you getting paid more? Are you getting a pay cut? Are you going to be able to afford rent? What about childcare? What about groceries? What about this? What's the cost of living there versus here? It's all of these questions that become so overwhelming. And at the end of the day, I'm just really starting to question all of it and just wondering, like, where is this conversation even stemming from? Because I feel like whatever is enough is definitely subjective per person. Some people will do one job for X amount of pay and be totally happy, where another person would be probably completely irritated. And I feel like I want a very simple life. I think I know this about myself. And I don't think money is evil. I do think obviously people get greedy, but you can get greedy with things, not just money. I see my kids get greedy with snacks all the time. Heck, I get greedy with snacks sometimes. I think ultimately it just kind of comes down to what is actually enough for me and my kids for us to like be safe, to meet our actual needs, versus this idyllic life that I think I have to have or I have been sold via social media. Like, am I in a stage right now where I have to have the income and the money to travel the world and do all of these things when my kids are 2 and 4 and I'm a single mom? I don't think so, because that's honestly not high on my priority list, especially because traveling across the country with 2 young kids alone sounds like a complete nightmare. So I just kind of am really picking apart my thoughts, picking apart why I think I want the things I want and why I feel like I need so much money to move forward, and where is that coming from? And I would really like to invite you to do the same thing, because I think this could be beneficial for all of us. When we're all on social media, when we're all consuming all of these things, when there are a million advertisements that come across our eyes every single day, we are constantly being influenced. If it's not always influencing us to buy something necessarily, it is influencing us in giving us this idea or mentality that we need a bigger life. That if you have 2 kids, you have to upgrade your car, you have to upgrade your house, you have to do X, Y, and Z in order to look good, look successful, then you'll be happy. And I feel like this is actually talked about a lot, but when you really let it sink in and just reflect on yourself and the things that matter to you and what values you have, and you start asking, like, am I living and spending my money according to my values? I think the picture gets a lot clearer. I love the idea of entrepreneurship. I'm obviously working on building a website. I consider myself an artist. I want to make products. I want to see my art on things. Like, that gives me so much excitement in life. But at the same time, I don't feel like I have to be like some 7-figure business that then starts selling courses and is teaching and like all of this stuff. I truly just want enough that we can enjoy our lives, that we can enjoy ourselves, where I can be generous and take my family or kids out to dinner, that maybe I can buy flights for visits, that I can live in a place that I love without worry or concern, that I can have that nest egg and do it kind of seamlessly. Obviously, I don't want to struggle, and I don't think anyone wants to struggle. You don't want to be in debt. You don't want to be stupid with your money, because that is like the root of all stress. I've also been there. But at the end of the day, it's like, why are we constantly chasing so much more? I know things are super expensive right now. I have been looking at rent. I have been looking at the prices of rent, an apartment and houses, and buying a house. I've been looking into all of these things in different areas, and yeah, it is expensive. And do I think that wages haven't met the expense of living? I don't. I think most people would probably agree with that. So it's frustrating, because it's like, what do you do? What can you do? Especially as a parent, as a mom who wants to be there and show up for her kids. But it's like, at the same time, in order to show up for them, you feel like you have to work, because how else can you provide? But then it's like, well, what if we downsized? What if we just changed the way we did things? I just wonder how attached we are to either ideas or stuff versus actual like time and truly meaningful things. And that is something that I'm like deeply searching for in myself and like praying through and trying to understand, because I want to do it right. You know, I just want to do right by my kids. I want to be wise, and I want to also be wise for myself and like do what I think is right. But I think when you're detached from yourself because you're so distracted by what you're seeing and what you're being told, you just kind of don't know. And then you find yourself doing and buying and living this life that is so far from what you wanted the whole time, or what's so unfamiliar to you. And that is what I'm trying to make sure I'm not doing or losing sight of. A perfect example is that everybody keeps telling me that I should probably buy a house, especially with kids and like all of this stuff. But in my head, I'm just like, I don't know how much I can handle right now. And a 2-bedroom apartment sounds great. We might be a little crowded, whatever. I think we'll be fine. We're already on top of each other all the time. And I just think it would be fun. We'll look back on that sometime and just be like, wow, that was great. And a lot of people say that when they were struggling and broke and eating ramen or whatever, it's some of their fondest memories. And I think part of that is because there's just simplicity. It's not that money complicates things. It's like our decisions with money and what it becomes is what complicates things. So I am definitely going to be taking time to just be journaling, praying, and really paying attention to what I think the right route is to go, but also like, what are my values and how can I live accordingly? And how does my money flow into that? And like, in terms of pay, what do I actually really need? Especially as a mom of 2 young boys, like, what do I actually need for us to be totally good, for me to be at peace, to eliminate stress? What is that amount? And how can I move forward from there so that we can just have time and play and love on each other and actually be able to be with each other? I just really wanted to share that because I feel like there's a lot of depth in there. There's a lot of truth and honesty and like raw emotion in there for me right now. And I feel like that is probably on the heart of a lot of people, even if you are not a single mom. You could be a single dad, or you could be a stay-at-home mom. I know when I was a stay-at-home mom too, even on one income, it was hard. We were struggling. We fell into debt. And then when I became a single mom, I was paying that debt off myself. So, there's a lot there. Like I said, it's a complex conversation, but one that I hope to have with you. So again, please feel free to comment below, share your story, give your 2 cents if you want to, give some encouragement. You never know who's dropping in there, who's reading them. And so this is not just a video or a channel of me talking at you. It is a place where we are inviting each other into the conversation. And if there's enough of that, I would love to make a follow-up video to this. And I'm sure there will be once I kind of figure out what this all looks like for me. But I just really appreciate you spending some time with me. I truly appreciate you always just listening, and if you are participating, it means the world. I love hearing from you and learning about all the different thoughts and processes that you have as well. One last thing before I pop off is that if you don't have anything to say about this topic, you can always go to my website, mapleonmain.com, and there is a confessions tab. And don't forget that on Mondays, I make a video called Mom Chat Mondays, and you can submit a confession, an anonymous confession that I can read and share with the audience. And it can be anything that you want to share, anything that you're going through that you feel like is a struggle that you have no one to talk about, or that you aren't ready to talk to the people in your life about, but are kind of looking for feedback. It can be a story of failure, of triumph, of shame, of guilt. As moms, I feel like we feel and navigate all the things. So that is another way that you can get involved and be a part of the conversation. So don't forget to pop over to mapleonmain.com and submit an anonymous confession, and just write it out. Hit that submit button. I will never say who it is unless you want me to or give permission to. You can trust me, I promise. But again, thank you so much for being here and for listening. And I just hope this touched you and resonated. And just remember that if it did, you are not alone. I'm right here with you, and we're going to figure this out. I'll see you in the next one.